Thanks ever so much for talking with me.
No, thank you.
So you're an occupational therapist and you're also a filmmaker. So you've got these two separate careers, but you also combine them and do therapeutic filmmaking,
Mm.
which is really exciting and quite an unusual thing to do as well. So we start talking about your film career. What got you into studying film in the first place?
I think um I think I've always been fascinated by storytelling and growing up, was always surrounded by films and stuff. So always had a keen interest. So around I think it was around 2008, 2009 time, started kind of making home videos and films and uh got really passionate about it. So for films and then went on to do like a master's in filmmaking. I initially applied for bachelor's, but upon seeing my kind of portfolio, they said I can actually apply for master's. So I was kind of lucky in that sense. So yeah, ended up doing that and yeah, just been doing films ever since. I mean it's yeah, always been fascinated by storytelling as such. So
And you've got your own film production company, AV2,
that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
and you've got your own website, which has got a whole sort of array of different films you've done. Can you sort of tell us about some of the filmmaking that you enjoy doing?
Yeah. So I very much specialize in what's called low budget filmmaking. So I tend to work mostly with first time actors, um, often people, who've got no previous acting experience at all. And I like to work with fresh crew. Uh, and the films that we tend to do tends to be either, music videos, short films. We've done features, documentaries, etc. So under AV2, we focus on kind of providing opportunities for people who have never done films before, working on very low budget, and trying to tell stories that's, meaningful to us, but also kind of picturing world the way we want to see it, kind of thing. So yeah.
I really enjoyed one of your music videos, which is telling the story of a family where the man, the husband, is trying on his wife's jewelry and his wife's makeup, and then
Oh
she
yes,
comes
yes, yeah,
home and sort of sees him doing this and throws him out the house. And then
yeah.
there's sort of a touching scene at the end where his young daughter finds him in a cafe and accepts him for who he is. That's a really touching video. It was because I didn't understand the lyrics because it wasn't in English of the song. Was that story based on the song, or was that your own story?
Yeah, no. So the song was part of an album that was created by one of my very good friends, Sachin Shangamanat, for whom, I tend to collaborate. He tends to do the music for most of my films, and I tend to kind of do music videos for him. But the story in itself is actually based on inspired by some true events because so I'm from Indian community, like I'm originally from Kerala, and there is still kind of a lack of understanding regarding non-binary and all of those side of things. So, or kind of the various genders and etc. People still find it very hard to kind of understand that. So, this particular music video, it's called The Remains, was actually focusing on an individual who considers themselves as non-binary and kind of the family issues they were facing. But yeah, that's inspired by a true story, actually.
It's a really lovely video.
Yeah,
There's
no,
quite
thank
quite a variety on your website. 'Cause there's also a mockumentary called Central Ham about a
Oh,
Jewish
yeah.
gang culture, which is very funny. So that's a very different tone.
So thank you for watching that, Lorna. Yeah, it's something I'm very proud of. But yeah, people who have collaborated on that hated me for making them wear, the traditional clothes and making them walk over London and stuff. But yeah, no, we had a right laugh. I don't think I've laughed that much in on any project. So yeah, it was a real fun. But no, thank you for watching that.
No, I enjoyed it. It sounds like quite a therapeutic activity for you to make the film.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah.
And there's also a trailer for, is it a feature-length film called The Long Walk with Michelle Collins, which is a big name to get in.
Yeah. No, it's actually a short film, but it's around 30 minutes long.
Okay.
So that's based again by a true story of the main lead actor who's Andrew Alton Reed, who unfortunately had mental health breakdown and it's based on his life. And
Mm.
so we wrote it, we co-wrote it. So Andrew wrote the initial script, and then I came on board, and we kind of rewrote the script. And yes, we were very lucky to have Michelle Collins and Daniel Casey both be part of the project, who are playing his parents, Andrew's parents, and Andrew himself has acted in the film as well. So it's kind of a very, again, it's another form of a therapeutic filmmaking, I would say, because it's kind of having that approach, and we were trying to ensure that when we are retelling the story, ensuring that we are not going to re-traumatize the individual whose story this is based on. So we were being very careful about that. But yes, the long walk, it's a 34 minutes long film, which has been playing at various festivals at the moment. So we were very lucky to win a couple of awards for various categories, including best film, and recently at the Soho London Film Festival, we ended up winning the Audience Choice Awards, which was really great. And both Michelle, Daniel, they've been really, really kind of supportive and promoting the film, which is, it's really great to see that. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So after having so much experience and knowledge in filmmaking and having lots of success as well, what then inspired you to study occupational therapy?
So whilst I was making these home videos or films, and as I was doing my master's, I was working in camps, so child and adolescent mental health service. So I initially joined as a healthcare assistant, and eventually then went on to become an OT assistant, and spent around nearly 4 to 5 years at the camps whilst I was doing my master's in filmmaking. And it's then that I stumbled across occupational therapy, and fell in love with the profession right away. So I then wanted to go and study occupational therapy. So uh, I then went on to spend like an year working at King's College Hospital within acute medicine, just to get an understanding of the physical health side of things and the OT's role. So I worked as an OT assistant there. So I knew this is the path I wanted to go. So I then went on to become an occupational therapist. So I studied at UEA, did the MSc there after finishing my master's in filmmaking. But yeah, as soon as I came across the profession OT, it was just it's like this opening this treasure where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that you can um incorporate filmmaking and various art forms within occupational therapy, because I'm sure you would agree, Lorna, we're still trying to explain to everyone what OT means, but in a
Right.
nutshell, it's all about yeah, it's all about enabling independence. Yeah, I was just very fascinated to see that apart from going through the whole kind of therapy route. So obviously there is art therapy, and there is the whole kind of psychotherapeutic approach to incorporate arts into various practices. I was just fascinated to see that you can use filmmaking within occupational therapy, and it kind of brought in this kind of whole creative dimension, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and was just thankful that I had these opportunities to see the path of OT. Yeah.
And is that something you'd always intended to use within your occupational therapy practice? Had you always seen them coming together at some point?
You mean both the occupational therapy and filmmaking?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. It's already have come together, and it's still kind of so. Just to give you a bit of background, so I initially, after qualifying, initially went on to work within social services,
Mhm.
um, after which I then went on to work within inpatient units. So, uh, I went to work as a senior OT at one of the inpatient units in Essex, and I had such a supportive team and managers that I was able to incorporate the whole therapeutic filmmaking element within the inpatient wards. So I was able to see that there is a real kind of opportunity to do that within inpatient wards, not just for service users, but also for staff members as well, to kind of help improve their well-being. So following that, in my current role as well, I'm still running therapeutic filmmaking, and I could see that there is a real opportunity to bring in the OT elements to filmmaking and vice versa. So
And how do your therapeutic filmmaking sessions look like? I mean, do you have a number of sessions, and will you start off with sort of building the story and learning skills? How does it look like?
yeah, so there's a multitude of pathways, I would say. There is the one-to-one work that I would do, and then there is the group work I would do. It totally depends on each population group that I'm working with. But the common kind of theme is the fact that it's always 4 to 5 days. So day one is me teaching the basics of filmmaking, especially focusing on low budget and trying to help people understand that you can make films with whatever equipment you have, or how you can rent an equipment for completely cheap. I'm talking about 10 pounds or 5 pounds, etc. So it's all about teaching people how to use what resources you have to make films. And once that day one is done, we then, with the support of the students, we would then come up with the script. Usually, we would work as a group, etc. And then it's the whole kind of production. Making the film is the third day, and end of the day three, and day four is editing and then sharing the film. So it's kind of keeping the film to roughly 3 to 4 minutes max. Um, and it's also looking at kind of goal setting, trying to see using using filmmaking as a method of goal setting. That's what I do within mental health units and mental health settings, but within learning disability settings, it tends to focus predominantly on helping individuals improve specific ADL skills. So activity of daily living. So it can be cooking, or it can be saying a certain word, or it can be even kind of role playing in terms of how to teach one individual to do a certain task. So peer support is a big part of that.
Mm.
So it's, yeah, the whole kind of therapeutic filmmaking is very much designed according to each population group. Yeah.
And are there any particular videos that spring to mind that your clients have made with you that have really sort of touched you or surprised you?
Uh, yeah, there has been one whereby an individual, she told me, so she has a teenage daughter, and she told me there has been a lot of communication issues between her and her daughter. And they've been continually coming to conflict, and kind of daily conflict and lack of understanding and stuff. So one of the things she told me is that she wants to communicate through the medium of film, one, how much she loves her, and two, what she's trying to say. And she herself, the individual themselves, had a diagnosis of ADHD. So what she did was she actually made a film using stock footages and a bit of narration and music, etc., to make this film for her daughter. And she then told me that this worked as a great communication tool with her daughter, because her daughter was able to see, and that it moved both of them emotionally. So that to me was kind of like one of those moments which made me realize, okay, this is the reason why I'm doing this kind of thing. And similarly, within a learning disability setting, we had done films, and the individuals had co-produced a film. So 4 students came together to make a film, and they were also kind of like highlighting the fact how making film had helped them to increase their self-confidence, help them with kind of the whole kind of peer support. They kind of felt that everyone's equal. And one thing I always tell people before making film is that I remind individuals that I'm not an expert. I might know about some stuff about filmmaking, but it's always an opportunity to learn from each other. So I'm very much guided by the individuals who are making that film, because it's their journey, it's their film, so they would want to guide me how they want to do it. And just like any other creative art form, there's always that room full of opportunities. And having such an approach has individuals have told me that they felt like, we're all equal, and we are equal, but it kind of reinstated that fact. So yeah, those projects certainly helped me. Yeah.
Thank you. And how do you feel that filmmaking's a sort of good medium for creative expression, and what can it offer that's different to other creative workshops, for instance, writing or painting? What is it about film that you think is really unique?
So with film, the main kind of thing that I've noticed with certain individuals is that it's very much the whole kind of, so if I'm breaking this down from an OT kind of standpoint, um, let's say, I'm meeting an individual and they're saying they want to make a film about the goal that they want to do. For example, let's say They want to make a film about the routine they want to follow in a day. And the routine follows them waking up every day, going to the gym, cooking good food, etc. Those kind of things. And let's say they actually make a film on this. Now, what I've realized is that when an individual start that journey, how film is different is because one, you can write it down. You can say, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'd be doing, or you can use your voice by recording audio to say that, yep, these are my goals, this is what I'm going to do, etc. But with film, it's it's going back to the Wilcott's theory of doing, being, becoming, belonging, because you're already doing that process because you have to act it out. So when you're making that film, you're already following the process. So you get a taster for what that is. Now, whether you have the motivation to continue that or not is a secondary thing. But once you've made that, at least that raw format, you get to see yourself doing these actions. And then there is that rhetorical thing, and you can say that actually I've done that already, so maybe I can do that again. So it's kind of like doing the opposite. So when you are in that slum mode, you can look at this and you can say, oh, I've already made a film on this, or I've already done these actions. So it's more of a familiar territory, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's like a
so
rehearsal, isn't it, for
technically, yeah.
it becoming part of your daily routine.
Technically, yes. And that's got, and there is a rhetorical evidence of that, which they can, look into how they want their life to be, kind of
Mm,
thing. And this very much follows within the whole kind of theory of, so Mick Collins, who is one of the retired OT lecturers at UEA, had basically written in his book, The Restorative Spirit, about the two elements. So within the individuals who have experienced end of life or near death experience, they often do go through what's called life review. So where they kind of see how their life has been, and they kind of have a review of that. But what Mick has introduced in his book is a concept called life preview. So he basically says that how you don't have to wait till end of your life, your end of life to review your life. You can review it at any time, but also you can preview it. So what I've done is I've basically taken this concept that Mick has developed, and I'm trying to implement that onto filmmaking. So actually helping individuals think, okay, how would you like your life to be?
mm.
Again, it's focusing on solution focused techniques and stuff. So kind of saying, okay, how do you want your life to be? And why don't we make a film on that? So you're already doing the process. And I think this is where it's different because, as you said, by acting it out or by role playing it, you're already starting the process. Um, so that's how I think film is different. And then obviously you're bringing in the music, the sound,
Mm.
there is visuals and what you then call the cinematic elements and stuff to make it look more attractive as well. So yeah, that's very unique in that sense.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And you also do workshops with some of the university students at the UEA, is that right? And is that workshops for them to make films for their own well-being and learning, or are you teaching them how they could do therapeutic filmmaking with their own patients?
So my kind of within university settings, I tend to do exploration of films on a number of levels. So yes, for health and well-being, for mental health and well-being, we do that. There is films that tend to focus again on the same concept of life preview and stuff, so goal setting. But I also encourage students to kind of think outside the box in terms of how you can use films for clinical reasoning. So we kind of then look at that side of things. There is films that's being looked from an health humanities kind of point of view. And one other thing that I kind of encourage students to do is using films for, along with clinical reasoning, for reflection as well. So sometimes once you've had like a particular case and thing, kind of walking through that, trying to see how you can kind of reapproach it and stuff. And I also encourage students, this kind of stems from my experience of working within social services. So I truly enjoyed my time at social services, but I wasn't able to really incorporate films. But what I did realize that was that when I do home visits, and when I have to introduce a particular equipment, for example, Sarah Steady or a hoist to one of the service user and their family, and often this tends to be elderly couple, and it might be very difficult for them to retain the information. So what I then do is I kind of demonstrate it, and then I ask them to demonstrate that, and I record what they're doing so that they have it on their own phone. So I'm not breaking any protocol or anything. So I'm basically recording them using the Hoist or Star Steady, etc.,
Yeah.
recording it on their phone and narrating it so that they have a visual evidence of that. So I kind of teach students to try and think creatively about how you can use these kind of mediums, which could help, improve the safety of
Mhm.
the service users. And yeah, again, going back to the whole kind of route, which is enabling
Mhm.
independence. Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And are you able to say a bit more about using filmmaking for clinical reasoning?
Yeah. So in that terms, with regards to clinical reasoning and stuff, I kind of go through the students with regards to the whole questions about why they did what they did, how they can reapproach it. So within students, this tends to be focusing on one specific thing that went probably not wrong, but what they could have done differently in their placement. So
Mhm.
they would present the case, they would then go through what they did, but through the visual medium, they would then demonstrate how they could have done it differently. So it's kind of again thinking it outside the box and sharing it with the rest of the students, which then evokes a bit of discussion, and people are able to kind of share their own ideas and stuff. So that's what we tend to do over there. And again, within clinical reasoning, another aspect where we use films is specifically for like service improvement and stuff. So let's say a student is going through a placement and they have to present a particular idea. Now you can use your words, you can use the paper, you can use all of those things, but then it's then helping or encouraging students to use filmmaking to help convey the idea. So let's say they want to introduce a sensory room in an inpatient unit. Maybe the staff may not understand what they're trying to explain. However, if they start using this visual medium, really kind of go into a bit of detailing about what, this could do, and having, using the film sometimes helps, and it has helped me. So I always tell people that this may not always work, but it's a form which may come handy at a later stage. So
I think they're brilliant ways of looking outside the box. Because in terms of reflecting back on things that haven't gone so well in the workplace, the way we generally encourage to do it is a written reflection, and some people are fine with that. But a lot I know from lots of my peers don't like writing. They're
mm,
not the sort of people that
mm,
would naturally write a journal or express their ideas in that way.
yeah,
So making of films are just, it opens up another form of CPD that might be a bit more encouraging to people. And like you said, you can then share it as
totally.
well with your peers and discuss it.
Yeah,
And also for presenting ideas. I mean, a lot of us are in the mindset that you have to make a PowerPoint, you have to
yeah,
talk, you have to show a PowerPoint if you want to get your ideas across to someone.
yeah.
But yeah, filmmaking sounds like a brilliant alternative idea.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, so you're now the Recovery College operational lead, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Yes. And what does this role involve day to day?
So it's at the Recovery College. I mean, so I'm the operational lead for the Middlesex Recovery College, and
Mhm.
we tend to co-produce and co-deliver courses, all mental health related, but it's for the population of individuals who are living in Middlesex,
Mhm.
and all of the courses are, looking at again enabling independence, helping individuals learn new skills,
Mm.
um, and also learning from each other. So everything that we do is completely co-produced. And when I say co-produced, what I mean is that our staff members include expert by experience, so people with lived experience of mental health and people with professional experience of working within mental health. And both these individuals, they come together to co-produce courses in various kind of topics like managing anxiety. There is kind of using art creatively outdoors. There is well-being walks, mindfulness. There is also kind of, how to kind of working within kind of like various partners, for example, understanding domestic abuse, coercive control. Um, Also, when you're in a work setting, how could you manage your mental health? So we work with a number of various partners as well. Um, One of the courses that we do is called New Beginnings, which is especially looking at supporting asylum seekers and refugees kind of connect with the community and helping them settle into the community, teaching English specifically to communicate mental health needs for the refugees and asylum seekers. So there is a wide variety of courses, including therapeutic filmmaking that we run. but yeah, it's a really, really exciting project.
Mm.
We ended up starting it from scratch, really. So my managers, Lucy and Lisa, they basically gave me this white paper, blank A4 sheet, and told me, this is the recovery college. Off you go, Vignesh, start it. And yeah, it's been a project that we've basically created from scratch. And it's been great. I've surrounded by an amazing team, who are all super passionate about, doing the work that they do. So yeah.
And in your very busy life, you've also done a pre-doctoral fellowship. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I was very lucky to be funded by East of England, um, you know, help HE for the pre-doctoral fellowship, which I did in my previous role as a senior OT at the inpatient unit. And that was really great. It was predominantly looking at what my kind of next steps of research was. And, we had loads of kind of like one-to-one sessions that was given to us. There was, specifically looking at how to complete a pre-doctoral application, the whole kind of research proposal, going through, the scientific kind of research summary, um, and also trying to understand how to break break down the cost for your
Mm.
research and trying to really get an full understanding of how would you approach this, including stuff like PPI involvement, so patient and participant kind of involvement, and public and patient involvement, which at the time I wasn't that although in my research I had done co-production, I wasn't really that aware, I have to be honest, until I did the pre-doctoral fellowship, which really opened my eyes and try and see, okay, how could you really develop and do kind of research which is very much in um, alliance with what the need is of the service user rather than what I want to do.
Mm.
So mine was very much looking at the use of therapeutic filmmaking to
Mhm.
improve staff well-being and reduce kind of the staff sickness rates within NHS. That's what I was looking at.
Mm.
So I completed the pre-doctoral fellowship, which was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, attending the fellowship also gave me the opportunity to attend the W4T conference, so the World Federation OT conference, where I was able to present my research
Mm.
in Paris. That was great as well. So my kind of next steps is now looking into applying for PhD and taking this further. But in the meantime, I took on the role for Recovery College Operation Lead, which was something I really wanted to do because even in my previous role, I knew that, this a service like this is essential for our community. So to be part of starting this up and, really implement this is something I wanted to do. So I had to take a bit of a break from my
Mm.
research, but I hope to go back very soon, hopefully next year. So.
Amazing. And would your PhD idea be to look at therapeutic filmmaking with the staff still, or with service users?
So I'm looking initially, so there was a lot of variations the I mean, my proposal went through. So initially it was looking predominantly at service users, and then kind of we were looking into the core kind of um, topics and reasons and trying to identify really with the research design service in terms of how could we make it really beneficial for both the service users and staff members. And it was identified that there was a number of reasons that came up during my literature search and stuff, whereby it was evident that there is a lot of support that's needed for staff members. So because of that, I was able to then kind of design it accordingly for the staff population. So yeah, my kind of research would be focusing specifically on the staff well-being aspect and trying to improve that, and also to develop, problem solving or conflict resolution skills through that.
Mm. And what advice would you give to people looking to follow a research career and maybe sign up for the pre-doctoral fellowship?
So I would say that, definitely the number one thing would be to follow what they're passionate about. It's really more than identifying what before the step two, which is, I would say, identifying what the needs of the community is. I would say, first of all, it's kind of looking at what you're really passionate about and going for it initially, because I think from when I was interviewed, I had to initially do a 5-minute presentation, and they specifically commented on the fact that I came across as very passionate about the topic that I wanted to do research on. And that's what really influenced them to kind of, accept me, because they said it's a very difficult topic to come under the NHR umbrella in terms of what I'm trying to do, but they still wanted to give me a chance. So I was very thankful and very lucky to have that, and glad that I was able to go for it. So yeah, my kind of first advice would be to do that. Secondly, if you're part of the NHS trust or university and stuff, I would say keep kind of whichever topic you're looking at, start doing research on that. I mean, start kind of creating evidence, keep, a tab like the Google Scholar tab so that you've got the updates regarding your research topic area, like being up to date with that. Because what I've come across, I mean, I probably not relevant, but I thought I'll just share it as you just asked the question. Is I heard a talk by this person called Earl Nightingale, which is from the 1950s, and he used to do the radio show, and he mentioned he's done a talk called The Stranger Secret, which is available for free on YouTube. And he mentioned something about how there's no such thing as being lucky, and it's about luck is all about having your preparation meeting opportunity. So it's when you're prepared and the right opportunity comes, kind of when it comes together, that's when you feel like you're lucky. So I think if you're prepared, if you keep being prepared, the opportunity comes, and you'd be ready to boom, apply for stuff. So yeah, my advice would be whatever you're passionate about, just yeah, follow that, and yeah, the opportunity comes. So
Brilliant, thank you. And final question, what other dreams do you have for your future, both within filmmaking and working in health and social care?
uh yeah, I mean, thank you. I would really like to do more work within the field of therapeutic filmmaking,
Mm.
and try and, use filmmaking to help people be more independent, but also help, as cliche as it sounds, make the community a better place using films. So I would like to continue doing that, but I can't say that I have a very specific goal as such. I definitely want to do research, and that's something I really want to go forward with. Um, but yeah, my kind of definite goal is incorporating more of OT and filmmaking together, and kind of finding where this is going to lead to, because everything up until now has been, yeah, it's been beautiful, and it's not something that I planned, it's just happened, and I would like to still kind of continue on that journey and see where it leads to.
Thank you. I actually misled you. I said that was the last question, but I've just thought of another one. Do you
Yeah.
have or do you plan to make any resources for other OTs? I mean, I'm thinking specifically OTs working in learning disability services that might be really excited about using filmmaking to help people learn skills. How could they learn more?
Yeah, no, totally. I'd be totally open for that. So I tend to work with organizations and various kind of NHS trust and social services and charities as well, kind of running therapeutic filmmaking specifically for their organization based on what the needs are. So I kind of do one-to-one training. Um, I kind of teach them filmmaking, but I also kind of identify how they could use filmmaking within their organization to help solve problems, be it communication issues, be it kind of teaching their clients, or for clinical reasoning, etc. So I think the best thing would be, rather than one single resource, what I could do is, I'm more than happy to have one-to-one discussion or like a consultation to kind of try and identify what the needs are. And I'm sure we'll be able to come up with a solution together, co-produce a solution and see how best we can take it forward. And yeah, my website is like www.vigneshvyas.com. So, I'm more than happy to be contacted and would love to discuss this. Yeah,
Thank you. And I'll put the links up on the blog write-up.
cool. Yeah.
Thanks ever so much for talking to me. It's fascinating what you're involved with, and good luck with the PhD in the future.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Lorna. Really appreciate it. And thank you for inviting.
You're
Really
very
means it.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye bye.
Bye now. Bye.